Hello, this is Sinead Jeffers. I'm in Demon 650, Dr. Therese class. My article that I will be discussing today and why I want to or can utilize it towards my research project is Walking Well-Being in Community, Racialized Mothers Building Cultural Citizenship Using Participatory Arts and Participatory Action Research by Maggie O'Neill. And this article basically refers to women who have been seeking asylum. They're undocumented, that came, preferably, specifically what they're talking about is women that came to a little place called Tizeba, if I'm saying it correctly. And these women came from all walks of life. And just giving you a brief background, and what they're fighting is also an intentional rejection of citizenship. They're having to be very intentional about showing that they are providing and giving something to society, being validated in what they offer society, and just kind of the ideology that the fighting states and nations being scared and trying to claim states' rights and nation rights for protection of borders. Specifically, one of them being arrogance, which is a twin phenomenon of political evil and stateless news at the most daunting problems. The Arundishian language is the right of humanity and that entitles us to become a member of civil society such that we can then be entitled to juridico civil rights. So if you're undocumented and you had to flee like these women did to another country, you could be called illegal if you do not have legal citizenship. And so even though they're claiming asylum, there has been a rise in Europe and the Mediterranean, I guess, more a forward persuasive countries that are progressing and adding to the international GDP. And so this article talks about how they're assisting women creatively in validating and giving them citizenship. I wanted to utilize this article. I thought it was really good. I thought Maggie O'Neill was very in-depth, detailed, efficient. I wanted to use this article, one, because I am looking to, I'm studying and researching basically colorism within clergy leadership selection within the Black church. So with that, there's been a lot of hyper focus on perfection, on things that are minute, what a validation of what Black, especially Black female bodies and Black persons in general can offer the church, whether through the sacred text, interpretation, delivery, leadership, implementation, being a part of just that structural, are they valid even in the hierarchy of things? Will they be accepted? And I think it kind of also starts with the ones that are in charge, that are filtering and utilizing the clergy selection process. Personally, with the United Methodist process, it's about 6 years average. That's from start to finish. That's from answering your call. That's from going to your vocation. Your seminary, and answering your call and starting walking your vocation, whether you're doing local pastor or however you're doing service in the church, showing that you are actively a member and actively serving. After that, you go through a provisional period and then You become a full elder. Within that, after you've been accepted full elder, you have a buy-in. You're an investor, by the way, or they have to invest in you. They are obligated to provide a church for you or pay you while you sit in the sidelines and wait for that church to come about. And this is the short end of it, not the long soliloquy and details. But within the United Methodist Church, there's all these different things. But I noticed that within the Black church, there's already a small number of representation within the Black community, the Korean community, the Hispanic community. And so there's a feeling of racial tension and extreme filter. And for minorities or marginalized person to get through. But what I'm finding that within that, there's more filter, more holes within the Black church. And I believe colorism is a part of it. Now, there's other things, but what I like about this article, to go back to it, is that there is a pull against do these women have a valid validation? Not just the validation of being part of the universal high human rights, but are they validated in what they can offer? And I think colorism is a way of trying to also utilize somewhat of a bifurcation of, are these Blacks really able to add value? Can they add value to the church? Can they give leadership? Is what they give these women, the projects and the way of being creatively reinstitutionalizing these women, for lack of a better way to say that, reinstating them into civility, which citizenship is valid by being accepted into a civil community. And so if you're not accepted in a civil community, then you're considered sub-citizenship or even subhuman rights, besides the basic right of being a human. And that's not really valid, because if they can't, I believe through this article, put a marginalized value on it, then not a marginalized value, a monetary value on it, then you are basically valueless. But they're not saying that, they're not articulating that way. And I feel like that happens within colorism, within the selection of clergy is, can you articulate the needs of the Methodist Church? Are you worth the investment for us to invest you back and claim you? Are there enough Black churches? I don't think they're ready in 2022 for Black pastors to come in and help lead, whether it's associate or senior pastor of an all-white church, unless it's small or it's going through extreme measures. It's just the dynamic of exclusion I find in this article for these women is a dynamic of exclusion I find that within the clergy leadership selection process. And colorism being a tool of exclusion. Colorism being a way of saying that you don't have citizenship here. We don't know that you have value enough. We're not going to allow you to buy in to us, and we buy back into you. And the way you get to buy in is to pay the dues. They set a level, a monetary level, what you kind of have to invest in, which one of the tests, which is a psych eval, depending on which conference with the United Methodist that you're in, can cost anywhere from $600 to $1,500 a piece. You may get a modicum of assistance with that, but you're not going to get, it's very rare to get the whole thing paid for through your district superintendent or the district in which the state and the city of the conference that houses that state and that city where the conference is, and how they will invest back into you. It's like you have to pay into it. It's a lot of working for free. Like, for example, to become a chaplain. They highly suggest you become a chaplain. And so an internship, if you're doing intensive, it's for about 3 to 4 months. And if you're doing or if you're doing part-time, but all of that is for free. There's a lot of free. So it's almost like as if it's more patriarchal, because most men, traditionally, according to hetero norms, they have wives that will assist them, and partners that will assist them, whether it's assist them in writing, assist them in financially, while they go and shift careers, and live and survive. Where most people, they're not able to do that. They don't have that, especially if you're a female. You may or may not be married. A majority, there's a good portion, especially of black bodies, that are not married, and who are female that are not married. So they're doing it all on their own, and many of them have children. Many that I've been exposed to in the North Conference and North and South of Georgia Conference, both. They are single parents, successful, driven, but still doing it all on their own. So the test, the litmus test, and the hoops that you have to jump are a lot more. These women are, in this article, are running from gender-based sexual assault, sexual crimes against their bodies, and they're being tasked with proving self-worth after those kind of instances. And some are, well, all are horrific, yet there are probably some that even similar women of similar victimization probably would still cringe. That with their project to help reinstate citizenship for these women in other places that are had to seek asylum or refuge in another country, they're reestablishing recognition, relationships, and solidarity in where they are. And so a lot of these people have had to go to the United Methodists, but then have left, and our Baptists have left and went to this person. Our Presbyterian went to that denomination. There's many of my colleagues that have had to go to a different denomination and find solidarity, find recognition, and find relationship that will validate their spending, going to seminary, the time spent, and however long it took for them to graduate from seminary, whatever money spent to get their psych eval, to do their criminal background check, to do their credit score. You have to have a specific credit score to be considered, even to be a certified candidate, much less a local pastor or a provisional elder or an elder in full connection. So all of this is different barriers to assist within hindering and trying to block that. Colorism is utilized as another level for some. So you have all of these levels, financial, monetary things, hoops that you're driving through, and then you come in, and colorism is not just against a darker skin in a sense of within a group, whether it's Indian, Asian, whether it's Black American, Indian, Asian American, or Black American, or Latina American, or Latinx American, or Latinx American, excuse me. It's colorism within itself. It can be this person is possibly too light. They have to prove their blackness. They don't have enough blackness, enough experience, and they'll be pulled out. Or this person is too dark. They're not humble enough. They don't know their place. They don't know that they're kind of subservient to within their skin color. This person, especially even when it comes to different genders, I personally have observed and want to study and research that there are more darker male pastors and lighter female pastors than there are lighter male pastors and and darker female pastors. I think I said that right. And so in that coloration, for example, just what that looks like or why that looks like that. Initially, when I began my research, I thought sometime before I became an ITC, I had the misnomer that only darker hued marginalized persons received exclusion and pushback and resistance. And I thus became more in relationship and opened that conversation and was able to have more transparent conversations where other women who are of like clergy, whether they've been in there longer than me or in the same process as me, have also received rejection for not being taken seriously, for being too pretty, which color can be filtered out as an agent or a marker of beauty. Light is right and dark is, not in some people's instance. Or if you are an attractive person, you must be sexualized. You're about to, and I have been accused, oh, you're going to be, with little whispers, she's probably going to wind up pregnant. Let's hold back and see what she does. She's here for all the wrong reasons. And then kind of find, oh, she graduated. She's still going back for the process, even though we've given her a really hard time. She jumped through more hoops than needed to. And sexuality, though when walking in more and being a moral compass or a possible moral carrier, I won't even say moral standard. I understand you have to have more decorum, at least privacy, but to have it as an assumption or a shame, I do not believe that should be used. And unfortunately, colorism attaches itself to a lot of other things. Colorism includes just all manifestations, especially during social media. Social media is really huge, but however, these women through media, through video, through it's called a walk. There are different things that the O'Neill had used to. Hold on, I'm having to open up my. Used to storytelling capacities, different resources she used to hone in and to prove and creatively present these women back into connectivity with society. And so, though the disparity is not as overtly within such a distance of not having citizenship, it is overtly where I have personally been pulled aside and others have been pulled aside on how, because of my color, I will have a harder time. 3 different times by board members. What was so odd, those board members were they're the ones that were filtering. They're the ones that had the say so and held, like one was the chair of the board and had an influence in denying my going forward. And the excuse of, we don't think you can handle the lay people, they'll be really mean to you. What? Because your skin color. I've been my skin color my whole life. I can handle being black. And the problem, can you handle me being black in that position? So, and no, things are not perfect. This is not perfect, even with everyone is your color, and it could be your own family dynamics. So, I think exclusion and the exclusion of these women, the women having to find tact, creativity, connectivity, in other ways of proving citizenship and value will be a way of something I'm going to have to keep in mind, and a great model of different views too of what it can be done to circumvent seeing sub-level ability to be a leader within the clergy process.